Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some Bronze, Silver, and Gold Week 4 action. Starting off this weekend happens to be AllOneLane versus GG Esports. Here we go, guys, right into the action. Nice and fast. Here with me, by the way, is none other than the guy that I was casting with last time. Fantastic caster, must admit. Here he is right now for you folks.
Hi, I'm Gwen. This is my second time casting. I hope it will be enjoyable.
Oh, I know it'll be enjoyable, especially after what happened with the last cast you did. It was really fantastic, I must admit. But we got in for some games right away, and they've already started to drop some bans hyper fast, and it looks like their GG Esports is focusing heavily on AllOneLane's comp strategy, trying to target Brand and Twitch right away, and Maokai is also on the immediate follow-up. With AllOneLane's ban seems to be Orianna, Draven, and Jax, as they got that done very fast. Let's see how this works.
I'm confused at the Orianna ban. Aurelius Zeno, if that's how you say it. Aurelius... Yeah, I'm gonna say it's Aurelius Zeno. Doesn't play Orianna. In fact, the only person that plays Orianna in the game is Kidofire himself. I like the Sedge pickup. That's been practiced a lot.
Not to mention it's one of the most favorite champions here for Green Boizu. Definitely trying to get AllOneLane away from their fave champions to try to get them into a bad spot. That seems to be where the focus is right now.
I agree. I'm not seeing a lot of Taric practice games, but... Oh, 5 games played. It'll be interesting to see.
Yep, the truth is Sushi is a bit of a interesting Taric player. The last time he's used it in competitive series, really likes to have the tier of the goddess with the build path, so he can really spam that Q on the heal. Just really gives him a lot of free room to be a support at the cost of obviously getting AP or anything like that. Heavily relying on the fact that he just needs mana to get those heal spams. I see that it's been a very effective strategy for him. But speaking of an effective strategy, Rengar seems to be picking a top laner for Ninetales as he's looking at Riven at this point.
And well, they weren't looking for Riven at that point.
No, they weren't. Well, we got ourselves another technical hiccup here. Seems like it automatically picked the champion for them by accident. One of those offsetting occasions where Riot just says, I'm going to pick that champion for you, so you don't even get the chance to pick it for yourself. And it's a small technical hiccup that's happened to a number of champions in Custom, and it's a real unfair circumstance that really delays those games. Not exactly a big fan of any of it. Hopefully it will be fixed in the momentary time as they try to get everything back. Everybody knows about the same bans, and everybody knows about the same picks. And it looks like we should be able to get this match going as soon as possible. Hopefully we'll know for a fact at how long the distance is going to be as they begin to reorganize themselves and try to rejoin into the game. Boy, the audience is like, wait, what the heck? This is 10 minutes past the time. How come we're not in the middle of a game here? What the heck's going on?
I agree.
Well, the truth is there has been a few technical hiccups that has happened here. First off, Puss Pounder 420 has been confirmed as pre-produce, which was originally a sub on the roster of AllOneLane. It has been confirmed that Puss Pounder actually is AllOneLane sub, which means that that is not an unregistered sub, that is a official player on their team. According to what I just heard, it was a recent swap of his name lately, so I had to do a small check of the circumstance, and I'm very happy to know that this is confirmed, and that's why it took an extra 10 minutes off the clock, an extra 5 minutes off the clock. Sorry to all of you fans waiting and wondering what was going on, but it was just a confusion of why Puss Pounder 420 is actually the top laner, but we're good. Okay, you can see in the chat below, it seems like everybody's finally ready to get this going. Let's hope no more tech bugs as we're getting right into the next match. So the bans are going to be exactly the same here. And
Even though the ones that I always like having the same bans and picks, it's always weird just because that avoids the sort of just like, oh, accidentally picked a champion. Now we get to change all the picks and bans.
Yeah.
Common sense.
Yeah, I honestly, when I first heard about the system, I'm like, you know, it's like you get the first draw, you understand what everybody's doing in advance, you see why they're banning them and everything, and then it's like, I gotta talk about a different strategy. Maybe I can ban something different. And it's a little bit like, oh, okay, that's actually really not fair at all. Because you get to know the person's strategy before they even get to play it, and that basically affects how the game works. So, essentially, it'd be in everybody's best interest to basically be play with their strategy, play with their game plan that they were going to do based off the bans. So it would be fair to change anything. Mm-hmm. Now, with the fact that Riven was the champion that was picked last time, it was an accidental pick. So every pick will be exactly the same from both Ninetales, Puss Pounder 420, and Green Boy Zoo. And the only one that'll be different is the Rengar pick, as I mentioned earlier, is the one that glitched out. So AllOneLane says we're going to start off with the bot lane selected first. We want to have Tristana. We want to have the Taric. And
I do kind of like the Tristana pick, as a Halsey doesn't have a lot of games out there, and taking away the safe pick of Tristana, where all you have to do is just command attack, you're good.
Now we're having another countdown here. I wonder if Rengar's having the exact same problem. There's no seconds on the clock. Wasn't able to pick anything again here. And then Rengar gets selected at the last second. I don't know if Rengar's having that exact problem a second time.
I don't think so.
It's really a rare case, so perhaps this is the correct one. We'll see what it looks like. We'll see what it looks like.
The 0 clock hangs out for a while, and then the entire lobby just gets kicked out if 0 counts down. They don't assign you... Okay, well, never mind.
Well, apparently they do assign you a champion that you're not able to do. I don't really understand why this is the second time this has happened to Rengar. I don't know why this keeps happening. Apparently this is his second time he's DC'd, and it's really uncommon, honestly. I've never even seen anything like it. Usually it's just one time, you're ready to get right back into the action of the game, but this is the second time this happened. I'm not exactly sure what the ruling is on the busted client, but usually it gets fixed after the first one, so I don't know what to say.
He could have just panic picked, right?
That is a possibility, but I want to remind you that, as I stated, there are times where in custom games, for some unexplainable reason, when you're doing the picks accordingly, and when you go through the process of it, sometimes for some reason you are not allowed to pick your champion or edit your runes page. You're just frozen there until the game picks it for you, and it's really, really bizarre, and it's very rare. But for some reason we got 2 in a row, so this is actually the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Never seen this happen twice. It's happened once before. I've seen it happen. I've been a part of the games where that happened in customs. Even happened in the Gathering of Warriors once, which we had to do a repeat for the sake of the free agents. But now, let's hope Rengar has figured out why his connection seems to be failing him not once, but twice. If this happens a third time, I'm afraid I'll have to see what the management will have to say about this, as this is starting to get to a point where it seems more of a delay of game by a certain player than it is anything else. Honestly, it's a really rare occurrence. It's normally not common when this happens. So I have no idea what to think of this. Yeah. Let's see if that doesn't happen anymore, though.
It didn't seem like any team were going for like a weirder strategy. Renekton is a fine pick, especially as such a big lane bully. You kind of just sort of win lane.
Right, and certainly Ninetales is a capable top laner. So even if he does get forced with a Riven or a Renekton here, it's not exactly like something that's the worst possible choice for him.
Yeah.
Still, it's not a part of the strategy, and clearly they want to get a support or they want to get a ADC. They just want to secure something fast and effective, and they're worried that to not give Ninetales the champion he wants to go against, he wants to have the right champion for this lane. He wants to have the right combo.
Yeah, I agree. I bet we're gonna see a Jax or a Trundle coming out. Maybe not the Trundle, but the Jax is a highly win late.
Alright, I'm notifying.
What was a first pick on blue side for GG?
They managed to get Sejuani away from Green Boy Zoo. And that is basically where they responded with getting their bot lane first to see how that works. So this will be, hopefully, the last time we ever have to deal with this. But Rengar, this is the second time this has happened. And this is starting to become a delay of game. And in which case, we do have our rulings for when a team is unable to play the game or is basically refusing to meet the deadline of said game. We will have bans in order for such an occasion. However, this is a circumstance as of right now is not exactly violating the rule that is being set here by a delay. This is basically just an error that has happened with the client twice. So it's not exactly against the rules per se, but I will go ahead and double check said rules right now as we are waiting to see if this is actually going to happen and we're going to finally get past the Rengar ban.
It is 20 minutes past the starting time. So you are already involved in the 15 minutes past, which is insta-game loss, right?
Yeah, it's that is a correct term of phrase. You are correct, but the circumstance is saying that
it's not
it's not the player, late. It's not the teams, it's not them, it's the client that's making this not happen. And that is where concern is coming in. Because it's like Rengar is having this error. So that's what seems to be the situation. 20 seconds on the clock, he still has not picked anything. Is Rengar still having this error? Okay, there we go. He finally selects Shen. Thank goodness. It seems like he's finally passed that error. Alright. Whew! Thank goodness.
That is actually probably a Shen support. As Ninetales has very little games on Shen, while Hayes has 10 games played in Season 8. I do like the Zac pick. I really like Zac in the current meta. You have so much CC available.
Yep, and he's also super strong with this AOL comp. Well, you got Tristana, you have a Taric, get that immortality on the Zac. That way allows Zac to just get that great positioning, gets to jump in for free, takes no damage, pulls the enemies back in, and then just basically has a ton of health to do a lot of visibility damage while the rest of the team is really piling it in. Sejuani is also a strong CC champion, has a strong nerf to her kit as well. The Q, by the way, specifically the Q, is what is heavily nerfed in her ability, because that means she now has a 17-second cooldown on every Q press.
I don't find the nerf to be very effective. I still think that she's still a great champion if you're good at her. Because if you go in with your Q, you shouldn't need to escape with the same Q, and you should be engaging on good fights. So I guess you're right, especially on a bronze, silver, gold league level. Maybe it is a nerf, but you don't think Sej is OP because she Qs me all the time. Right. You think Sej is OP because she Qs, she Rs, and then she autos you because you're stunned. And it's like, what am I supposed to do?
Right, and why, as you were just complimenting me on my knowledge of the game, thank you very much, I was saying with that, I was very concerned about Sejuani in particular because of the fact that a lot of the success comes from accuracy on the Q shots. There are times where you miss and then, oh, that's your entire ability. It's gone for an hour, and you miss, now you're in a bad spot. You can't bail yourself out of there, and it's going to, like, you're fully committed. There's no retreat. And that is a big error that could come into play coming up in this matchup.
I really like the AOL's team comp. Zac and Azir have a really good, do really good together, as their ults are both AoE, which means if they get grouped up, Azir can push him into Zac, Zac can pull him back to Azir, and he can pin him somewhere. It doesn't seem to have a lot of cohesiveness coming out of the GG side.
You know, there's only one thing I'm strongly concerned about here. Going into this second banning phase, they decided to ban Rammus, a common jungler, where it was quite obvious Zac was, you know, in the game.
Already?
Yeah, so it does seem to be a bit confusing that they decided to ban out Rammus when they knew Zac was an available choice. I don't know, I don't exactly assume that Puss Pounder 420 is going to be... Oh my goodness, he's going to play Sion against the Cho'Gath!
Interesting.
He's playing Sion! I can't believe it! Sion debut appearance in the Duo Esports is going to be played by Puss Pounder 420 of AllOneLane.
He has not played Sion within the last 20 days, I believe.
Oh my
goodness. This is going to be an interesting matchup.
Absolutely, positively. I can't believe it, though. Sion finally going to be played, and it is not a common pick for this guy whatsoever. Anyway,
I don't see how Sion kills Cho'Gath.
Right. That's honestly, I know quite a lot about that type of matchup. I've played it a massive amount of time. I bet that's why AllOneLane was trying to reward me with saying, "Hey, we're gonna get Sion in this. It's gonna be super fun." Back to the statement. Cho'Gath, very much the type of person that is extremely strong against Sion, because a lot of his abilities are really good to cancel out Sion's functions. Makes it difficult for him to get his barriers, his damages, and everything because of that massive silence, as well as the knock-up. Really, really strong. But the one thing Sion has above Cho'Gath is lane pressure. You can really shove Cho'Gath in by forcing him into a very unfavorable spot and basically keep him in a very unfavorable laning phase. If you can push Cho'Gath to a bad spot, Sion will consistently be able to force Cho'Gath into losing a lot of health, into unable to keep up with the farming game, and just make it a really big struggle for Cho'Gath farming-wise, which is extremely vital for a Cho'Gath player. The 2 TP situation is also very interesting. I do not know what will happen. I do not know I don't know what will happen gank-wise, as Rengar should be pretty much focusing the Sion topside. If Sion is planning on pressuring heavily, Sejuani should definitely gank topside.
I believe that there was a SK... I'm gonna go get my dog for just 1 second.
Alright, well then I'll just continue talking then. So, Tristana Taric in the bot lane, Xayah Shen is also an interesting situation here. Xayah and Shen, they did have the chance for Rakan, but wanted to have the Shen ultimate, which is something I find very interesting, considering Shen's entire kit, CC-wise, is heavily relied on the taunt and positioning your W to block the auto attacks for the ADC. Both sides, however, not exactly the strongest form of CC lockdown, and most of the time, for Hayes' sake, unless he's going for the Flash E combo, will end up walking. Will end up walking right into Taric's stun near every single time, as I don't think Tristana will be positioning poor enough for that to work. But it is a big question that I have right now, folks, is Xayah versus Tristana. I do not know who's stronger than the other. Both sides very effective in the late game. Both sides hard damage, strong CC control, and both of them are very good in the late game environment, as both of their ranges are pretty good. Tristana, I think, might edge it out purely from auto attack range, as Xayah will have to run after Tristana if Tristana uses the ultimate.
Yeah. Though I do think both sides have a potent form of CC, depending on how the engage goes. Like, you can have the Taric, like, recoup with the ult, the Azir can ult and divide the team, Zac can get in there, so can Sion, versus, like, the Sej Cho'Gath knockup, and the Shen, E.
Well, let's see how this match is coming along here. It's gonna need to be a good one, because they cannot afford. Neither side can afford to take a loss here, and a 2-0 is really bad for both sides, because they definitely need. Both sides absolutely needs a 2-0 to get this series to work out for them.
Yeah, though I do think that I think that from my expectations, AOL should be able to 2-0 them. Though there have been some replacements on the GG side. It was kind of easy to out macro them, and AOL has been our scrim partner for a while, and they're fairly competent.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about the loading screen error, folks. Finally managed to get this to work. Speaking of getting it to work, looks like Azir sticking with the Comet strategy. Vladimir going with the very controversial and also beloved item for many, the Unsealed Spellbook, which is a great way to take advantage of the summoner spells. Everyone really likes them a lot. Going into this matchup, the top side is also a big question here. Mecha Zero Scion's planning to go a Comet, and so is Cho'Gath. Both sides planning to try to add some extra damage to each other, as they both have the Resolve Tree on the side. It's going to be a big, interesting question that both are going to have to answer. What is going to be necessary to beat the other person? Who does more damage, and who is going to hit CCs more consistently, and what do they have to worry about gank-wise?
If you've seen Scion in the top lane, I believe there's a YouTube channel dedicated to Scion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he's in a good place right now. But the reason why you take Comet is because you can outpoke them with your E, because your E range, if you hit a minion, is massive. For Cho'Gath, I mean, I guess you got your Q for poke, but it's why not just go Resolve Tree?
You also have your Silence, and I believe your E also procs the Comet as well.
Yeah.
But I do see what you're saying here. It just seems like, okay, you could go for the Resolve Tree as your primary, get the extra health. Does make a lot of sense to try it that way. Anyway, you can see the loading in coming in for Vladimir here at 60%, as he seems to be loading a little slowly, interestingly enough. Sejuani with the Aftershock, so will Green Boy Zoo, both of them having that. Interesting play by Rengar, though. Looks like he wants to increase his attack speed as he's gone the Precision Tree, while Green Boy Zoo Zach is looking for the Inspiration Tree as the follow-up, if I am correct.
I think that attack speed does help out with jungle clears. I'm unsure how important that is to Sej's overall health. Maybe Inspiration would be better with like a stopwatch. You could go Sorcery even to get the like mana back. So interesting to see how it plays out.
Another interesting strategy here seems to be Shen. He is going for Grasp of the Undying for the extra health percentage damage proc from that ability. It will allow him to get an extra percentage of health damage with Shen, and it's really valuable and very strong. But he's sacrificing, well, Aftershock's extra burst damage, as well as he's sacrificing Guardian that could be really good for his chances of survival. He's kind of building a top laner strategy here, as it looks like he's going down the sorcery tree as a second to give himself a ultimate hat cooldown of an ultimate.
I kind of dislike ultimate hat, as if you do have cooldown, the 15% extra doesn't do a lot, as it's additive, not I think it doesn't actually do 15% extra cooldown. It's not like you have the 40 cap and then you have ultimate cap and it's an extra 15. Instead it gives you like an extra like 8 or 9.
Ah, okay. Well, in any case, with that statistic in mind, not to mention the fact that that's going on, he also has to use that ability multiple times. He has to basically use it again and again and again just to get the maximum usage out of it. And there might not be enough team fights where that comes into play, or there might not be enough situations where that's going to be of extremely important value. Well, it looks like Vladimir has finally done his full upload. Looks like we're finally able to get ourselves into the game, as the Nocturne the Nocturne ultimate has finally came off of the towers. We can finally get this game going.
And it's not dual esports without a pause.
Hey, as you just noticed as well, it looked like one member has DC'd on the blue side. Appears to be, actually I couldn't even see in time, but what I do see right now is some items being purchased. Scion going for the Corrupting Pot as his first option. It's a good item to take on Scion. It's very effective. You already have a very high health at the start. 608 is really good in the early game right now. And He's also going to have extra mana so he can really spam those abilities a lot and just keep that pressure onto Cho'Gath. Pressure is extremely valuable to try to force Cho'Gath into an unfavorable couple of kills in the early stages. But if he does manage to do this, he will force Rengar to come topside a lot, or force Rengar to come topside enough to get that pressure so far away from Bludit and Zushi that they might be able to work their magic accordingly. The big question right now is Aurelius Xeno's Vladimir versus Kid of Fire's Azir. I was about to say Aurelius Xeno's Vladimir versus Kid of Fire's Aurelian Soul. I don't know why. It just sounded like it had a ring to it, I think.
I agree with that.
Well, another thing that just reminded me is apparently I had the logos in the wrong spot. Bam! Instant switch. Instant switch. Fixed it. Upgrade. And it looks like all 5 members are coming in right now. Pussy Pounder dodges the knockup by Cho'Gath. 4 members will be end up getting hit by this, as it looks like the entire AOL squad has made their rotations. They have a little bit of disrespect, a little bit of body action by Sion as he drops a ward inside of the area here. He seems to be waiting at the flank as they're preparing for some sort of invade strategy. Cho'Gath has yet to put a ward down as he's basically waiting to see what Sion is doing. Speaking of this, Sion is way out of Cho'Gath's vision at this point. What is his plan of action? He has still not placed a ward down. Cho'Gath is now beginning to circle back here as he's still in between the spots. Will Sion attempt to go into the blue buff and steal this while Cho'Gath is currently at Tribush? It appears like that is not the case.
Though I do think Cho'Gath should place down a ward. Maybe he will as he goes to lane. In order to prevent a steal, because right now you don't know if they're going to steal it. And blue side, Shen, Xayah, and Vlad should have gone into the red side's blue jungle to get a ward down to see that happening too. Especially if you see all 5 members on the opposite side of the map.
The knock-up here has landed onto its target. This may be a very repetitive couple of plays happening over and over, as I would imagine Sion has a massive hitbox, very hard to dodge. As a Sion player, I know it's extremely difficult to dodge the Q knock-up, and it's very easy for Cho'Gath to make those Qs land effectively.
Especially if he does it right at the start of your...
So Kid of Fire here and Xeno, both of them forcing trades on each other. He knows he's got a big heal, so he's going to eat alive Kid of Fire, forcing his health bar to half after those trades. Meanwhile, Zac near the area at this point, as Sion is now, I believe, a little bit aware of Sejuani's blue buff take, as he now appears to be backing off. Oh, wait a second, Sejuani's heading topside while the bot side's still going down here. Let's take a look at the action. Sion right now is trying to get some pressure here. The slows have been landing. His Q ends up hitting, and Puss Pounder 420 has to use the flash to get away from there. He needs one more melee attack, and he's not going to get it. Rengar gets out of there quickly.
I agree with that. Saving flash until the Sej Q. I think Sej should have waited, and Cho'Gath would have been able to stack Sej's passive before Sej Q'd. And if he did flash early, that means that Sej could have just flash Q'd, and I guess it doesn't matter because Sej is going back in. And with the stun from
wait a second.
her passive.
Has to flash in defense here. Both Rengar and Ninetales take a huge chunk of their health bar down from the Sion
Ooh,
passive.
Shen going in on Trist as Aya starts autoing. Trist is winning the trade with her bomb. I'm unsure what they really wanted to go in on there on.
Oh, sorry. I forgot who's supposed to be doing what for a split second there.
No problem.
Okay.
We do have the TP back top. I don't think he had to, as no wave would have crashed into his tower. So I guess red side does have TP priority, though at this level I don't know what it'll do.
By the way, Rengar and Green Boys who are having a fight here. Ooh, it's close. Ooh, it's really close. Ooh, he's got it.
Zac flashes the ball in order to get that auto off on the Wolf. I do like it. Cho'Gath, like, nobody's helping out.
Really close. somehow Ninetales ends up with the buffs. Not bad, not bad.
The Cho'Gath Q came down on the Zac. I think you should have given it to the Vlad. I find it funny that Kid of Fire just like backed. Just like, yeah, whatever. You can deal with it yourself.
Well, it seems to be a little bit of unfavorable situation for Green Boy Zoo, but he does manage to force the jungler back at the cost of his own health bar. He was hoping the E cooldown would come up for him, but it just did not in the nick of time. He lost the passive.
Halcy's use of mana in order to just hit minions is quite a lot. Maybe that's why she's losing trades so often, as her abilities would not be off cooldown.
Sion here trying to pressure Ninetales, has the barrier, but it ran out rather fast. He's going to hit the Q to land. The auto attacks by Cho'Gath has the advantage thanks to the red buff.
I like that engage by Sion. That was pretty good, actually.
He does have minion advantage at this time. Let's see what happens here.
I think the Cho'Gath Qs have to wait. They're going in on bot side. Sej and Zac are going at it. Another auto attack is needed. She takes it. She does. Here. I'm unsure what happens after that, though.
Apparently nothing, as there were no rotation by the bot lane, as they were worried about losing some momentum there. Ninetales really hits that very consistently so far. The silence now is going to force Sion's Q to reset. He will make that land. Decides to not pressure with the W. Very interesting decision by Puss Pounder. Ooh, Ninetales in a bad spot. Here comes the windup. He lands it. Speaking of windup, Green Boy Zoo once again re-invading onto Rengar. The stun has landed, but no way to make any other play happen. Rengar
this time
here
Azir
is
is going
in
in
the
first.
area. He will jump away and get out of that sticky situation.
Vladimir just didn't rotate. I think that Sej maybe could have been able to kill Zac if Vlad got there. Azir was there first, so Sej backed off. That was a good idea.
So Sion here, again, we switch over to him as he's trying to force as much pressure as he can. Zushi here has got a catch. It's going to end up running out of the passive in time. Blooded has got to get more damage onto that ADC. He's not going to get that chance. And both Hayes and Halsey will get out of that situation. I think, I'm looking at it right now, I feel like Shen should have been the main focus the whole way.
I do think that I disagree. I think Halsey was the focus, and I think that was right, as she was at, like, what, 300 to 400 health? The issue was that as soon as they jumped in, Shen, right before he got stunned, popped his W, which was really good because the bomb was never able to get up there in order to deal damage. So, if it wasn't Shen, I do think that they would have been able to kill him.
I know, I get what you're saying here. Speaking of that, it looks like they're going to take complete advantage of the lack of wards on that pit. All that pressure has forced wards into unfavorable spots, and I think the AOL strategy is working to perfection here, as they have been unable to take control of the vision that they want to have. Good job by AllOneLane here. Ninetales.
Hey, Ninetales landed the Q. Silence. I think he should have saved it. Using the ult to get a little bigger.
He's going to be needing as many of those as he can squeeze out of that, as he's going to need to be absolutely massive, so Sion won't be able to keep up.
Going in on Tarek, the double stun as he backs away.
Nearly goes down there. Oh, so close. Oh, it's scaring me. It's scaring me when I see a Tarek get that low.
Halsey didn't move out of the way of the stun, so was unable to auto attack, and at that point, Sushi just walked away.
Puss Pounder gonna try to stay alive right now. It's gonna be a quick play by Rengar, who's multiple levels behind here compared to his counterpart. This is a little bit unfavorable. Rengar is having a lot more struggle thanks to that early pressure. He is unable to get a good, clean rotation like he normally wants. Oh, wait a second. Is this a commitment by Vladimir? He's certainly looking at it like he can. He's not going to fully commit as he changes his mind halfway into this. Here
going in on Cho'Gath.
It's the CC lockdown. Sion gonna go for the ultimate. It's gonna be Shen coming to the rescue here. He's going for a taunt. He's got the flash taunt in play. He will manage to take out Sion in the nick of time.
I like the flash
Ninetales!
by Cho'Gath being able to flash away from both ultimates, and the passive from Zion unable to do anything. They're going in on Zac yet again. The multiple stuns from Sedge, which is why she's so powerful, prevents Zac from leaving with how many escape tools he has. Giving it to Ninetales.
And Ninetales, if you want a Cho'Gath to be really big, he's about to be very big. And I'm not talking about just being fed. I'm talking about he's going to be a very tall Cho'Gath going into this match.
Yeah.
A lot. Oh no, Rengar has
Rengar
DC'd here. This should be a reset coming up pretty soon. While Sushi is trying to take that tower, it's going to be a massive amount of damage.
They should
while
pause
they have,
it.
yeah, they should, but they're not yet. This is very bizarre. Why are they not going for the pause? There we
And
go.
she's reconnected, so it's fine.
Yep, and I guess the positioning really wasn't too bad. It's basically a walk back for him, so I guess it's okay.
She was going the way that he wanted. The bot side hasn't been cleared recently, so getting down there in order to get red buff and others.
Bludit trying to take that tower right now. It's going to be some big damage onto it. Zushi going to go for the body block here. Enough barrier to block most of that tower damage.
Almost got the tower. They should get it on this push, probably, unless Rengar has something to say about it. Though Rengar does not have the ult in order to prevent Trist from walking away. Trist just has so much pressure.
Speaking of pressure, Rengar's going to try to go right on for Zushi. The stun will land, and it looks like they want to turn it. It's kind of a tough spot. I don't know if you should turn it here. The ultimate to push Rengar to the tower! Bludit gets it! Oh my goodness!
Again, no ultimate means you're not able to get onto the Trist, so just going after the Taric, who's most definitely tankier. And like you said, the tier coming out from Taric.
Talk about your ultimates. That is an incredible ultimate by Bludit. He just seemed to know exactly where Sejuani would be after that ultimate has landed, and Sejuani just couldn't believe the distance he went to, and ended up like under the tower by the time he realized it. And because of how long the Q cooldown is, can't jump away.
He didn't even try walking away. He just autoed a Sushi as the passive, or the stun from 4 autos from melee was on him, which was kind of funny, as Trist had just knocked Sej right next to Taric, but Taric was healthy enough. The amount of poke coming out from Azir is quite powerful, which in this wave clear meta is exactly why you're picking Azir over Vlad. Nice silence away from Cho'Gath, able to just knock him away. Oh, and the knock-up from the next Q, that was a much better execution rather than the one we saw earlier, though. Sion is hitting back with another Q. Going in on Trist under tower. Zaya's coming in soon, though she's busy wave clearing instead of autoing a champion.
Well, we got a couple of people coming down here. Zac is in the area, but it's still unfavorable here. They've already made the ping away, as both Vladimir and Sejuani are simply just waiting for the play to come to them.
I think that was a blue side ping.
Right, and Hayes, by the way, is moving into position to try to get them to play it up, but they realized the second that, you know, they felt it was unfavorable, they decided to stop playing it. Ooh, Root has landed here. Sejuani finally coming around the flank. The jump,
going after
ultimate,
Taric
the
again.
stun will continue to land. He's got the ultimate off in time. It was a little late thanks to that CC lockdown. TP coming in by Cho'Gath as well. The Root also misses, and Sion has stopped Ninetales in the nick of time using his own ultimate to stop.
So Ninetales is dueling Sion. They didn't need to stop the TP, though I understand that they did. As Cho'Gath TPing in there would have been useless.
Here. He's gonna toss him right back into the tower. AC will not get hit enough to be mattered here. It's going to be Hayes that's still
Azir's coming back, dividing the team.
Coming in to try to get some burst damage. It's not enough burst. Kid of Fire gets stunned, taunted. No, not even taunted. Gets bled out and killed after that, as there was no opportunity for Kid of Fire to get anything to work there. And this will be a Drake take for the GG Esports.
Interesting. I don't think that the Azir should have gone back onto. I think after ulting, the Azir should have just walked around the corner to try and save the rest of his team. Though it's always super powerful to just like get a bunch of guys up, sand shoulders, and queue them right onto somebody that you just ulted, because they're just like, what's going on anymore? Just dueling with the 3 that are still down there, and Sion and Cho'Gath still going at it.
Right. Cho'Gath used the TP earlier. Sion knows that the TP is down on Cho'Gath, and his TP will be coming up pretty soon. I think push the wave in, try to get this under tower as quick as possible, then get your TP back, start hitting that tower as fast as you can.
I think Cho'Gath could have stayed, especially with such a big wave coming in. He's going to lose out on about 102, 200 goldish. Put him behind a little bit. Though he is ahead overall with the 3 kills that he has.
Well, looks like Cho'Gath will be making it back to the tower in time in this situation. Sion decides to go for a build split here as he's looking for a Spectre's Cowl to go with his Ninja Tabby and his Cinder. And he's now heading towards bot lane as the rotations have been made. Cho'Gath is now 3-0-1 against what will be a Tristana Taric bot lane, and Tristana has a static Shiv for extra AP burst damage that might come into play, I'd imagine.
The zeroing backwards, probably by accident. I don't think that he wins the duel with Vladimir as they both go in on him. The Q does massive damage. Shen is unable to get the taunt, but is still able to get the kill. That was pretty nice. Zach just kind of farming under turret.
Yeah, no way to save his ally there. Just kind of knew he was caught in a bad spot. Get a fire, no flash, no way to jump. I think he ends up using his E accidentally as he was forced into that wedge. Sion going for an ultimate here as he's looking for trouble. He's nowhere near in a position to make a catch, but he somehow gets there in time. The CC has hit all 4 members. Puss Pounder is heading right for the Shen in the back line. Bludit is trying to get one more, but he's got to deal with a Vladimir. He's got enough damage for it. Survives it in the nick of time, and AllOneLane has gotten their first kill. Can they get another Bludit? It's going to be CC'd and wedged right in there as Puss Pounder is trying to get one more kill to go. Green Boy Zoo was unable to get the catch and now has to run out of there. The stun lockdown was landed, and it's Taric now in a bad spot. Vladimir has to use his ability just to avoid it, and it's going to be a turnaround at a 1-3 advantage for GG Esports.
And although Sign was able to get in there, Cho'Gath is just free farming top lane, able to get that tower. That was an interesting turnaround as Zach went too deep for Xayah, and the team got divided between saving Zach and fighting the remaining members. That was a good split by GG Esports.
So right now, AllOneLane is dealing with the fact that every single attempt has either backfired or lost their momentum super quick out of minor mistakes here and there, just a little bit of slip up over and over, and it's a rare thing to see for AllOneLane. I do not know how they're going to rebound from this.
I think they expected people to back up after the Silent Ultimate. It is not good to back up right into where the river gets into mid lane, because that's exactly where Science coming from. So that was a good decision, either by accident or on purpose. I'm actually confused what happened in that team fight, kinda.
Yeah, it definitely was like, we have a team, but it's not coordinated. We have damage, but it's not entirely there. And then it's like, they just didn't seem to be coordinated with their strategy. TP coming in by Sion. He does not have his ultimate here. He will pressure it back as they're now going to fight for the Herald. The CC will hit the Vladimir. This could be engage time. They're going to try to go for that engage. The CCs have started to land on everybody. It's going to be finally all the members of GG Esports showing up. Green Boys will jump out of there. The fighting is still going on. I don't know if he's going to jump back in, but Halsey gets one kill and will get another. Sion tries to get one more member down, but he ends up falling as well. 3 members going down, and GG Esports wins another forced fight.
I think they're acting like they are ahead when they don't have the gold lead, especially since before that fight, they just TP'd in, but didn't actually get anything from the TP. Instead, the TP was exactly where the Rift Herald was, which if the TP came on the control ward in the back, I think it would have been a lot more potent.
Oh, he's got someone. I don't know how he got it, but Halsey's now on the run here. The CC lockdown still applies, and Bludit was unable, unconfident enough to make that jumping engage like he would do normally. Green Boyzu will flash out of there. Scion uses his ultimate, and he had honestly no chance to make that land. Push Pounder, I don't know. I guess maybe his inexperience is probably starting to come into play here, as it definitely appears like he is a little out of practice with Scion.
Yeah, he should have ulted sooner, which he couldn't because he was dead.
Yeah. He didn't have the right angle whatsoever either, so that was just like, just a bad call and a bad read there for him. Anyway.
Red team taking their second turret. You can really see the different focus that they have on their team, as AOL doesn't seem to care about the top lane, as they have just left that turret to die, versus GG Esports bottom lane is dead, which shows different jungle pressure. Azir using Rifttail to try and take out tier 1, not eliciting a response from AOL, as
this could be
AOL
more
wants
than a few towers taken. This could be an inhib tower taken, depending on how long this is going to be. Looks like AllOneLane refusing to make an engage, considering how badly this has gone for him. TP now coming in by Cho'Gath. This is a situation where if Scion had his ultimate, he could have went into Cho'Gath, stopped him from getting to this base, and maybe forced a fight where he could be sacrificed here. As at this point, it definitely seems like he could have gotten more towers out of that. No longer is the case.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I didn't think that it would be very potent. Though Scion and Trist are trying to defend their bottom first tier from happening. Zac is getting around the edge, preparing to go in, but GG Esports.
Ultimate now prepared by Scion, but the problem is Xayah also has her ultimate up and ready. Will be able to use it defensively, as he could easily dodge the Scion ultimate at this point.
Scion trying to prevent Xayah's back, but Xayah just kept on going. That was probably the right choice. Shen was still there, so even if her back was interrupted, I think Shen could have been able to save her. Azir now controls the first tier turret on mid lane, while GG Esports pings out Baron, as they have no vision in the area other than the control ward in River, versus AOL's 3 deep wards, which are very good.
So, AllOneLane now is playing from behind. They have yet to prove that playing from behind is something they can take advantage in. They have Bludit feeling pretty good right now. He's got a good killing lead. He's got a good amount of pressure. He's died only once, but he's still feeling pretty good. But their opponent sides, everyone is feeling really great. Everybody's got good items. They are already getting close to their 3rd items for most of them on that side. And really, it's going to be a tough match to come for everybody.
I do think that it's been kind of disappointing. Like, AOL has super good team fight, in that the only way that GG Esports is able to win is if AOL just kind of groups up and kind of just ignores the Cho'Gath Shen threat, because the only people that can really engage is the Shen or the Sej while they're starting.
This Baron, and the Baron now currently sitting at 5,000, 4,000 on this Baron right now, 3,000, 2,000 on the Baron, 1,000. The smite early, and they will easily take this right in front of AllOneLane. Have they came to the understanding that they've lost their momentum, or have they decided to lose so much of it that they decide to take no risks to take that Baron? Honestly, I'm shocked that Green Boyzu did nothing to steal this. But perhaps they were worried about bleeding too much, and that may have affected the momentum that AllOneLane has. But this is a massive Baron loss.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the gold lead that comes from this. As Zac, you can go from one side of the pit to the other in a single jump, which means that you can smite steal from that. Though, I do like how they didn't try to do anything, especially since Bludit was the only one that potentially could, because there's no way that you're getting past Sej, Shen, Cho'Gath, and the Vladimir just blowing you up first before you're able to really deal damage.
So Stone Plate will be the next one Cho'Gath's going for, and it's quite obvious that is definitely the right decision to go.
I like that.
It's the classic preseason build for Cho'Gath. The second the second his ability changed so drastically in Stone Plate, was basically such a good item for him that he's basically a walking massive free kill on both. He's almost like a suicide bomber in some way, where he just throws himself at his target and then tries to kill him at the cost of his own life.
Hopefully, as Cho'Gath, you can lane the Q multiple times to where your team is set up. Zach is on the side.
Not in the area. Pause has just happened. Okay.
Well, exciting gameplay.
That's pause, what, number 3?
If you don't count before the match.
If you don't count before the match. True, true. Lots of repeated disconnections here from Rengar. Lots of them. And that is just unfortunate, really. So we're looking at the circumstance right now. Green Boy Zoo has a Warmong's armor. Not a lot of armor going into this situation. Sion barely has his has the components of his Cinder, where he has a Spirit Visage, which is going to be pretty decent, but it's not going to be super great against all of the members going into this match.
Yeah.
He's still very,
I mean, if he did,
super susceptible to Xayah, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, he's very susceptible to Xayah. Also, like, really, there's the magic threats shouldn't be aiming for Sion, as Vladimir should be exclusively going after Azir and Tristana, which means that there's no reason. Oh, the unpause comes back in. Zach is still on the side, looking for an engage. They're going in on Azir. Azir has been caught and gets taken out before the fight even starts. He's able to pick up Cho'Gath.
Wedged into a spot. This is an okay position for him. Ult's now coming in. Now they're immortalized, but Shen will come in as well. Finally, it turns off, and these members' damages are just not coming through in time. For some reason, his damage is just not there, and it will be multiple members surviving that fight, and almost every member of AllOneLane is going down here, leaving Bludit to be the only one left alive.
Yep, that's the Q ult, which kind of picked off Azir before he was able to do anything. The Zac Azir did not have a lot together, as you have to use one ult before the other.
This should be the end of the game. They're going to go for the end here.
Yeah, this should be.
As they're going to pressure right onto Bludit. He quickly jumps out of there. Can GG Esports go for the win? They certainly think they can. They've got the first Nexus Tower down. 25 minutes on the clock here. They're going for the next one. The passive by Kid of Fire will activate a second tower to compensate for the tower they were going to lose. So basically protecting the tower long enough, and GG Esports will take one tower to go, but they will have a lot of towers to knock down going into this matchup.
They will if they want to win. Zach is going top side while Jagan is about to start up. I don't think that they can win the team fight, which means that they're just trying to clear waves. Giving the money to Tristana is probably a great idea. There's a lot of kills on the side of GG Esports. Mountain Drake coming out. They should be able to secure it fairly easily with a Smite and Cho'Gath eating. And AllOneLane is just trying to recuperate. Tristana's backing while minion wave is right in front of her. Shen is taking poke damage from Sion, but Sion is unable to get really a kill threat, especially with the rest of GG Esports right behind him. I think they're going to have to see this tier 1. There's no point in defending it. They're going to have to get their entire team ready to defend tier 2. And Zach has to get a good engage rather than being engaged on.
So they have a vision line, by the way. AllOneLane happens to have one here. You can see it. It's a straight line. And it's basically just the line of both the mid lane to bot lane, complete understanding vision of this area. Very good. Very good line of vision. But the problem here, and this is a big one right now, is that they actually have enemy wards are in their base. They have a lot of them, in fact. And they did not manage to get the lens off to clear out most of them, which is a bit of a problem here, because you're still giving away information despite the fact that you're basically supplying yourself with a ton of it. Cho'Gath heading top side here, and so will Vladimir and Sejuani. There are no wards in the top half of the jungle, which I believe GG Esports is about to realize. Yep, there it is. They just, now with the lens, they know there's no vision in the top side, so Bludit gets a surprise gank, and he will get his ultimate to come up in time, but Zushi's ultimate has now worn out. The TP is coming in. Zushi nowhere to go, is going to get CC'd, locked, taunted, and taken out by Vladimir.
Tarek's ultimate is very powerful in those situations. Though getting it out before the final team fight, I guess is a good thing because he's dead. But if he wasn't, that'd be bad. This should be close. This should be the end of the game if they're able to get the turret down, which they did. The team fight for blue side is too powerful as Zach tries to get onto the backline, is unable to. Only pulls Cho'Gath, and if they just auto the Nexus, it should be it. GG Esports, as they push them away from them. Zaya is not hitting the Nexus.
Damage. And it's Kidafire getting 1 kill. GG Esports is not focusing that Nexus, but finally gets that last auto off, and GG Esports wins game 1. All right, well that will take the cake here, folks, because that is how the cookie crumbles. AllOneLane with a shocking defeat in game 1. Boy, AllOneLane definitely lost a massive amount of momentum, and it all came from risky plays that have basically allowed Ninetales to get a lot of kills, allowed Aurelion Zeno to get a lot of kills. Just those minor mistakes just started to add up, and all of a sudden, AllOneLane, I think they just didn't realize how far behind they were until it was too late. And then they missed opportunities. Like they second guessed themselves, and then it started to collapse on top of them.
I don't think they were proactive enough.
Yeah.
The only real team fights that they had was when Shen, was when Sej ulted one of their carries. And if you just wait for that to happen, you're gonna lose.
Well, let's see. There's got to be a lot more statistics we're not taking a look at here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of them. As we go into this situation here, take a look at the damage to champion. Zaya's damage, 26,000 damage. Those auto attacks were very free, and so were Vladimir's. As you can kind of see, a lot of pressure immediately on the target of many of opponents.
Zach taking a lot of damage.
Oh, yes, he will, which we'll get right to just to get to that point right now. Let's take a look at that damage he took. He actually took 32,848 damage in that game. So he was putting himself on the front line. He was doing his part. But honestly, he could not seem to keep himself from the mitigation damage that he was trying to shoot for. He couldn't seem to get his sustain up well enough, and there were times where he made really risky decisions to try to force back some players and ended up giving away some kills. And those risky plays backfired heavily against him. You know, the thing is, he's a tank. So having these invades as a tank is extremely, it takes a lot of your health bar out. But it's hard to expect it. Like, it's really, really good.
Yeah, if you see, I think I saw an I Will Dominate playing Zach. He just kind of invaded a lot, jumping over all of the walls, which was pretty funny to see. Though if you're behind, it's really hard to invade. The vision score for the jungler and the support for AllOneLane was very high, even versus like the other people in the game. Though not a lot of plays were based upon vision. Like even knowing that the other team had somebody gone, they didn't ever try to force fights, which maybe is something that they could have turned the game around on.
Not to mention, AllOneLane happened to set up a vision line, but it could only cover so much. One of the final few plays was Bludit getting completely bewildered by that north side gank of the red side camp on red side, and really, it just threw him so far off that he was like, "What? Wait, they're here? Wait, why are they there? What?" And then just suddenly had to force the Taric ultimate, which then he became a sacrificial lamb to save the Tristana. And really, that is just something that just cannot happen in the future, honestly.
I agree. I think that Sej was able to get a lot more out of her kit than Zach ever was, and you never really saw the Zach Azir combo, of which you'll see like Azir pushing people into where Zach is just so he can get a massive ultimate. Never really came into play, and so there wasn't a lot of team fight. It was just basically GG Esports rolling AOL up in a team fight.
And it's all coming down to what I was saying earlier about they made those slight mistakes. They made those slight misreads. Cho'Gath happened to get a kill. happened to get a kill. Halsey happened to get a kill, and then it just started adding up, and then we ended up getting to where that circumstance was. And it's just a little bit of bad luck from AllOneLane. But let's see if their luck will continue or plummet as we will wait to get to the next match here. Let's see what the match has in store for us to come. Give us a moment, guys. We're going to get ready for the match. Let's see who will win Game 2. See you guys soon enough. We'll be back momentarily as we need our own break, of course. See you soon.
We are getting into picks and bans here. AOL starts off with the ban on Orianna, while GG responds with the ban on Maokai, following suit with the earlier bans.
Wow, we got that real quick. Real quick. They wanted to jump right in. They didn't even wait for go or collect $200. Oh, well, that's probably why, because they actually didn't wait for anything. Well, then I guess they'll just have to give it a quick second here, as that mistake will be fixed in a brief second here, folks.
They did stop because their jungler, I believe... Wait, no, their ADC looted it. Something happened with him.
Let's hope.
Maybe he quit in order to stop the stop it because the stream wasn't going.
Yeah, maybe. Well, in any case, we're getting right back to what we were doing. Kid, come on. All right. We'll get back to what we were doing in a brief moment here, folks. Give us a quick second. And that will be our cue to finally get this game going. So, it's AllOneLane now on the blue side as we're getting into this matchup. I'm really hoping that AllOneLane has figured out what their issue is, rebounded themselves, and get themselves right back into this game as effectively and as efficiently as possible.
I'm still confused about the Orianna ban, as Aurelius Zeno, I don't know if I'm butchering that or not, really doesn't have a lot of games on Orianna. So you're kind of just banning out Kid of Fire. The Maokai ban does make not a lot of sense either. Wait, looking at the wrong guy. No, still doesn't make a lot of sense. Draven ban versus Housey. You don't really know what Housey plays, so maybe banning Draven is to prevent Draven from happening. But Housey didn't play that last game.
And once again, GG Esports, by the way, are still focusing on the same ban strategy here on AllOneLane. They definitely do not want to deal with that. Giving away Vladimir again is also a strange call by AllOneLane. Vladimir was doing pretty solidly in the match. It was actually doing a lot of damage. I don't know why. They would let it out and let it be an option.
Huh? The Twitch ban onto Bluedit makes a lot of sense. I also do like the Jax ban, as Jax has both been played in the jungle and in top lane, preventing that flank pick from happening. They see the success of Sej and pick it again. Let's see what GG Esports responds with. They shouldn't respond with the jungler in the first two picks. Vladimir. Tristana.
They will be able to take, in this situation, they have Abe Lincoln back. Sejuani is going to be secured for Green Boy Zoo, and they let go of both the Tristana that Bluedit was actually pretty solid with, and they get Vladimir again. Gnar seems to be what will be selected for Abe Lincoln here. Interesting.
Mal's a hard pick. I do like it. It has a lot of wave clear, and it has a lot of pick potential, especially going along with the Sej. You're just able to perma-stun somebody from, even a tank, from full health to death. The Vladimir pick, I like going on about that. I do like that. Stealing away from Kid of Fire. And it performed very well last game. Nasus in the top. Into Gnar. Having the most farming lane versus one of the best poking lanes in top lane. That's an interesting pick. And Taric ultimate was very annoying and stops GG Esports from getting onto blued it several times. Though they would have first pick, so if Hayes wanted to pick that up, that would be another potential, but Hayes doesn't play a lot of Taric, so maybe that's why.
Nasus to go against the Gnar here is also a really interesting question, I gotta admit. Because, really, I'm not entirely sure at the success rate Gnar has against Nasus, but he definitely feels like Gnar doesn't have a good chance against Nasus. So he wants to take it here to get that confirm 1v4-0 strategy.
Are you saying that Gnar would have a bad lane or Nasus would have? Because Gnar should, is one of the best laners in the league, because he does have such reliable poke damage with his Q, and is able to just, even if he's losing, farm from away with that. And in Mega form, he has so much CC, and it's so reliable. Rengar going back to the Zac, I'm unsure if he's predicting different success rates with it. Loot it. Picking up Lucian. I do like Lucian. I may be impartial because I play a lot of Lucian in the past when I did play ADC. Nami, I really like with Lucian. I do like the picks coming out from AOL.
Yeah, and GG Esports definitely has their comfort picks as well going into this. So let's hope this is going to be a strong case for them, as they appear to be wanting to repeat their strategy of Game 1. Just switch it out with some more stronger champions.
I think that they should go for a disengage support, but they're going for Karma instead. I don't know how or why you want poke damage within a engagey jungle, just like bruiser top lane with Nasus and Vladimir, but that's what Hayes is going. You might be able to win lane a little bit harder, especially against Lucian and Nami with Karma, with the poke damage, though Nami just might be able to heal it back up. For team fights, again, the same thing. I think that AOL did draft a much stronger composition. It's just that... wait a second. Rengar had Sej last game, because Kid of Fire had Azir last game, which means that Green Boy Zoo is picking up Sej in response. I like that. Sej seemed like a very powerful pick, so picking her up instead of Zac probably is good.
In any case, it is still an interesting circumstance, and I'm hoping Sushi's Nami will come really effectively, come and work effectively with Lucian. Don't wanna say it in the wrong context. I apparently banned somebody over that.
So don't trip up yourself. Going back to the top lane matchup, did you say that Gnar or Nasus would have a better laning phase? Guess he is unable to hear me. In team fights, I don't think that AOL has the best team fight potential. It's really dependent upon the Gnar AoE, but they do have a lot of pick potential between the Sej and the Mouse. You're just able to delete somebody versus Zac's engage is different styles. Against Malzahar, if you do E in as Zac, you do get rid of the spell shield, but you don't knock him up, which means that you're going to have to ult instantly and make sure that he doesn't have flash. He could also put a silence down right as you land, which would prevent you from doing that, which is something interesting. But other than that, they have no way from stopping Zac from landing. Mimo's really good at, as Thresh, E-ing Zac away from landing, which is pretty funny to see, because the Zac just kind of panics for a second. And there are other ways to disrupt Zac from going in like that, too. I guess Nami and Bubble would also work, but you'd have that takes too much skill for this game. I think that AOL's win condition is getting... I think that they could win even fights, as long as Sej does perform and gets the carries, while Vladimir has to go deep for Lucian and Mouse.
Yeah, and sorry, I had to just sort out a circumstance here. I'm finally back. Sorry about that. There was just
No problem.
a situation that I've just stopped. Now I have a question for you here. Malzahar Ignite, Vladimir Ignite. Whose Ignite is more potent? I feel like Malzahar, because he's got the tick damage along with Vladimir's burst, is just like, that's all Vladimir has. He just has burst. He doesn't really have that extra tick to do that type of strategy, even if he gets Leander's Torment, where Malzahar, you could just tick and tick and tick and tick, and all of a sudden the Ignite just makes it even more potent, stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's just like, I don't know. I don't know how to make heads or tails of it.
I think that
Malzahar's better.
Well, it depends. If Vladimir gets ahead, or if Vladimir gets to late game, Malzahar will be less powerful, but Vladimir should get pushed in if Malzahar is playing it right.
Okay. Aha! There we go. So, we have Aerie on Summon Aerie for the Gnar top against the Grass of the Undying Nasus. Looks like we won't have a coin on this one for Ninetales. Sejuani will be having the Aftershock with the Zac on the other side having the same Aftershock. Both of them with precision, interestingly enough. Malzahar with his own Summon Aerie as he plans to get as much tick as he can out of it. Vladimir keeping his strategy of using the Unsealed Spellbook. You know, he barely really used most of it. I think he just switched out one for, I think, Ghost. I don't think he really did much of difference into summoner spells in that last game. At least I didn't really notice much of anything. Lucian will have pressed the attack against Tristana's Fleet of Foot, and Nami with his own Summon Aerie versus the Comet from Karma.
Waiting for the game to start up here. I think that Tristana Karma should most definitely be winning lane early, as they have a lot more pressure with just the passive from Tristana's E and the poke coming out from Karma, so they should push it in under tower. It'll be interesting if an Inferno comes up first. So I think that bot lane should get pushed towards blue side. Mid lane should get pushed toward red side, and top lane should get pushed toward red side also. So working around that with Zac and Sedge will be interesting to see.
Gnar is finally beginning to load in here, and Abe Lincoln has to be a big impacting force going into this. He needs to be able to make a statement against Ninetales top side. Has to make that difference that Game 1 did not provide, because the Scion, despite his performance in debut game, he definitely was the fault of a lot of misplays, miscommunications, and a lot of missed opportunities. And it came down to him not utilizing his abilities correctly in that environment, which is sadly to say a terrible way to start out Scion into this circumstance. Just terrible. But hey, it can happen to the best of champions. It can happen to the worst. Let's see if Abe Lincoln can make Gnar work against the Nasus here, as it is quite common for Gnars to basically do a decent job against Nasuses. But
yeah, you said earlier in the lobby, during picks and bans, we're talking about top lane. Who do you think should win top lane? I think you are more experienced in top lane than I am.
Yes. Thank you, by the way, for that. I really appreciate that statistic. It's true, honestly. I do have a lot of experience for my top laning knowledge, and I do know that in most of those cases, it comes down to how well the fighting goes between the trades of Abe Lincoln and Ninetales. But Nasus, if he does not get pressured and poked down, does have that heavy power spike at level 6 and could just instantly take advantage of careless opponents topside. Instantly turning it on them.
If you had to choose either Gnar or Nasus, who would you pick to be? Not depending on like the team comp or anything, just like for the lane.
think Nasus, if it's a gankless situation, I think Nasus will eventually get that level 6 and just start winning. But from that point onward, Gnar will have the complete advantage. Like,
Alright.
Nasus can't make those plays. He has to get the farm. It is too valuable for him to force any type of unfavorable trade. It is
Why
just...
isn't Shinshin complaining about Nasus, dude? He's too powerful.
Well, it's very powerful in a 1-4-0 comp, but honestly, the comp that I'm looking at right now doesn't really look that
They're
dangerous.
picking off Zac. Oh, he flashed just before the bubble hit. If he did not flash here, I bet he would be dead.
Oh, definitely. No chance of getting out of that situation. And Rengar just did not have his position in the line vision in time, so just no way to force that to work.
Oh, I'm sorry. A lot of pings coming out from red side. Really don't know what they're pinging out. No really early awards. They really shouldn't see anything. Not a lot of information was gained, though. The pick on Rengar might have been very powerful in steamrolling. Because if AOL gets ahead, I think the game is over. Because Nasus won't be able to farm till late game. Vladimir won't be able to dive the backline. And just on a... Yeah,
so
GG's team comp wouldn't be able to do a lot.
Right, so it's essentially back to AOL's early game, and last time we saw it, it had backfired because there were just a lot of extracurricular activities that ended up happening away from what AllOneLane wanted to have happen. It's just such bad luck and such bad coordination that ended up working so far against them. Ooh, great job on the Q there. Not going for the catch, lets it hit the minion, so he gets that CS.
Was that on Nasus?
Oh, no, that was actually... He tossed it at Nasus, but didn't go for the catch. He just let it keep going, and he ends up hitting a minion on the way out. So he kind of get that for free.
I like it, I like it. Gnar is poking Nasus out, especially with the level 2 advantage. Oh, just barely unable to get the passive.
Yeah, what in the world? I don't even think that hit a minion there. There was no sound effect.
It did. It hit the casting minion. It walked right around the corner.
Oh, okay. Because it looked like I didn't hear any sound effect at all. So I was like, huh? Why did that stop? Oh, great! I hope Abe is able to make sense of that.
Now, did get a lot of poke damage from that, though I still think that he's overall winning, especially if he pokes Nasus under turret while Nasus has to farm.
Ooh, Bluedit misses a minion in that forced trade. That's unlucky. Oh,
ooh, the bubble onto Karma.
On the Q by
a
Sushi.
lot of damage coming out. Unable to get the kill there because of the shield.
Another invade by Green Boy Zoo. And oh. Oh, Rengar got it. Sorry, I'm so used to what happened earlier. I gotta remember who's the one who's doing play-by-play and who's the one who's color.
No problem.
Sorry.
I was confused about the Sedge Zac too. I swore that a Sedge was on the same team, but no, it's not true. Like on the same team as she was last time, but she was blue last time, which means she's on a different team.
So in this situation here, Kid of Fire is going to need
top lane fighting. I'm unsure how much damage they're really able to get out. Zac shows himself and both teams back away. Nash should still be able to catch the farm as it hits the turret because Gnar is pushing it in.
And Zac was there in the nick of time here. All of the camps are completely gone by Zac, so at this point, you have to take a back, get your resets, and get back into the situation here. That's exactly what Rengar should be doing right now. It's just taking a back, get your next item for the jungles, and then get yourself ready. Because every other situation here just doesn't look favorable for him. So he's now beginning the rotation towards top side. And I think at this point might be wasting a little bit of time with his move here. I'm really surprised. He had no camps up, but why is he still in the area? Tejuani seems to be coming in too. Kid of Fire trying to move into position, hits the E. It's going to be a re-engage. That does not pay off.
Both teams are just undecided about who to go through. I think that Vladimir should have... I think that Zac shouldn't have gone onto Sedge until after Sedge used Q, especially with the long cooldown that we were talking about earlier. because that's how Sej was able to escape. Nars, unable a lot to get the W passive from going, and it would be a lot of extra damage with how much health A9tail seems to have. Unable to get it again. That's so sad.
Oh, my goodness. That's got to be irritating just to see it just barely miss the hitbox each time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Mega Nasus, sorry, Mega Gnar. Well, that's going to be another clip that's going to be tossed in the trash heap. Oh, my goodness. Why did
Mega
this happen to me? Oh, why does this have to happen to me?
Gnar using his ult to clear. That's
Oh.
interesting.
Yeah.
Especially if he sticks around.
Yeah, interesting indeed.
Yeah, I use that joke a lot. I like it. Unable to get the CS's turret is hitting it. Hitting Vladimir, but Malzahar just has to back to get Lost Chapter if he wants to stay in the lane.
Yeah, but that Vlad pressure is still working, and I don't know why Kid of Fire wanted to take such a really difficult situation.
Oh, going on to Trist, able to get first blood. Lucian was just able to get the trade out. The bubble hit before Tristan was able to E out of there. You should get the stun into Karma. Lucian Eing forward, no mana.
No cooldown on the Q for no extra bubble here for Nami. Unlucky.
Vladimir going under the Malzahar did not channel the E, is unable to collect the kill instantly, but still is able to overall. The W is very potent for diving under turret. He did use both of his summoner spells, but Kid of Fire did use his flash earlier and ignite there.
And also not fast enough for Sejuani or Nami to make that catch. They already got themselves. He got out of there pretty quickly and cleanly.
Mm-hmm.
Kid of Fire definitely having a difficult time this time against a laning opponent, and he kind of voluntarily walked into this too. He wanted to prove something to this Vladimir, and I think that might have costed him, honestly.
He E'd the wave while Malzahar E'd melee minions that were low, while Vladimir was walking towards him, which I think that he should have just forgone the CS and able to just last hit it before it hit his tier 1. They're picking up Mountain Drake, but the team is choosing to leave while Halsey takes an extra hit for Mountain. Zach picking up blue buff. Too relatable to Blight. Always taking blue buff from the mid laners. I may be a little biased.
Well, that just seems to be Rengar's way. He hasn't changed since week 1. He loves to keep everything to himself. If he doesn't have to give it away, he will not do so. That's just his way, man. I mean, he's got a team. His team is doing pretty well, although he's in the bottom half of the board here. So
Nasus trying to go hard on Gnar. Mega Gnar is about to come out. I don't know what Nasus thinks is about to happen. Oh, he chooses to disengage before AE goes big in person.
Yeah, the
Vladimir going on to Malzahar again. Just a short trade, though. I think that if he does that again, that should be the end of Malzahar.
Still like, oh man, do I call it Mega Nasus or do I call it like Gnar Ultimate? Oh, wait a second. Really? What is going on in mid? Bot lane,
both
big
bot
fight
and
too.
mid fighting. Zach is coming in, so it should be safety for mid, and bot lane disengages. It's a lot of fake fights going around on the map. Just skirmishes all over.
Abe Lincoln certainly seems a little out of practice. May have just came home just to help out his teammates here, and I think that is where and why he's missing so many of his Q shots so far. It just seems to be a little out of practice.
Now that Nasus has Ruby Crystal and Sheen, it goes kind of in the favor of Nasus now.
So Abe Lincoln gonna try to force another one. He's got it this time, hitting the shot. But Nasus has got the Sheen proc here, so he's gonna be pretty good coming up into this. Oh, here we go.
Zushi trying to engage the exhaust onto Lucian, but is still able to pick up the kill.
Nice job on the ultimate by Blue. He almost combined that so effectively. I forgot what champion he was playing for a second because that was just so coordinated. He did bam, da-toom, bam, boom, boom, and then it was awesome.
That's exactly what happened.
That,
Zushi should be
all right, that's
trying
going
to
right to the
place.
trash. That's going trash heaping too.
Yeah, probably. Zushi should be putting the auto attack modifiers onto Lucian, but it's choosing to put him on himself. I guess it didn't matter because it baited the engage. I don't know if Haley should have gone for Zushi. I don't know if Haley would be able to pick up the kill at all.
I don't know.
Lots of farming just going on. The Lost Chapter was picked up, so Malzahar should be able to shove in Vladimir continuously. He should have picked that up earlier, and it would have been a much easier lane.
Will he go for the ultimate? He's not going to try to use his ultimate here. Oh, yes,
oh, he is! He does not get the stun, but I don't know if he should be able to get him. Oh, the ult comes out. The Q is able to do a ton of damage. Oh, the Q snaps him before he gets that extra jump.
Oh, Abe, no.
That's a sad one.
That's a real sad one. I feel so bad. He knew he had
Lucian
it.
going into Trist, but Trist just jumps away.
Yep. After that play and engage, of course.
They're playing around Mountain Drake. I don't know if Red Side wants to take a fight, though the golden lead should be spread out among the entire AOL team.
Well, bless.
Excuse me.
Yeah, bless you.
Swing into Nami, but disengage. Zach is able to get in there and pulls him not back. Blue Dent just kind of walks forward there. And the ult whiffs. Oh, this is an interesting fight, but still able to pick up Zach. His passive pop solution goes very deep. Lots of misses there. Green Boy's ult was off by just a little bit. I think he expected the bot lane to go up into River, and it would have really caught them.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Rift between them.
But now that worked out the way it did, it will lead to a free Mountain Drake take. As I don't think Vladimir even has a ghost of a chance to make this work. Speaking of
ghost,
he is
coming in
here right now. Wait, no way. He's actually going to try it? He's going for the ultimate. Yeah, here he goes. He's going to get the... Oh, he might get a proccing off.
And Malzahar presses a button.
Oh.
And Vladimir dies.
Yeah, it did, but he let go a little early.
And Abe stunning a little bit early before the Nasus TP is completed.
Ooh, nice. Good job by Abe being well aware of that positioning on that. Good, solid effort.
He did back up before Nasus was really able to get some damage. Malzahar continuously pushing in mid. Zach does kind of seem to want an engage, but chooses to just walk around instead.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mistake on Captain Rengar here. It's kind of getting a little awkward seeing some of those situations where it's like, it's a bit of a slight misread on his part. It's not exactly super serious, but it's tower damage that's kind of falling apart on him as he's trying to get his camps at the same time while the towers are falling. It's just a little bit of a misread.
Yeah, and he could have E'd over the wall. Instead of walking around, since it was going to take a while for him to be able to clear that, but that's just small things that I don't think really matter. But Sej is going in. Ult has not been used. The Q misses. It does have a very long cooldown, and so they choose to disengage.
Yep, it's a constructed gank by Green Boy Zoo. If he got that W to land on the second proc, he might have been able to get the follow-up E to actually hold down his target.
Nasus chooses to go in, unable to pick up the Q. That should be a sign for Nasus to go in even further. The flash coming out from Gnar, and Nasus backs up.
Yeah, and all that commitment to just not get the kill is kind of a bit of a misplay, I'd say, by Ninetales.
Well, Ninetales only used his ult.
Oh.
Didn't use flash versus AE using flash and not having ult available. Does use TP to get back to lane in order to save it. Demolish stack was off. AE shouldn't be going for Nasus.
He's got a Black Cleaver. That could be pretty good for his chances.
Just a lot of wave clear going on. Malzahar checks out blue buff, does not start it.
Game 2 of this matchup, the game of wave clears. As it seems to be the entire strategy so far on both sides. No big plays, no heavies, rotations. It's all about the wave clears. Gnar at the top side here is in Mega Gnar form, switching now to regular Gnar, as it looks like he might be able to get some good damage on that tower while Nasus is away. His ult is coming back alive, though. No flash on Abe Lincoln. If he gets caught, that's a Nasus free kill.
Though preventing him from trying to get the entire wave might be a good idea. The Q is almost at such a cooldown that you can
Look at
continuously
that.
Q.
A blue buff actually went to a mid laner.
Whoa, it happened.
Yeah, but not
Now's
for
hard.
not for Captain Rengar, though. Oh, no, Abe. Uh-oh. This is exactly what he's worried about. Finally gets his ultimate up to throw back the Nasus. I think this is where he loses a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Because Nasus got the kill earlier. Nasus is way too far ahead. Has too much armor. Sej does gank, though. Zac ganks mid, is able to pick him up, pull him back. No flash to use. Vladimir bursts him down. Malzahar uses ult on Vladimir and is almost able to pick him up. Maybe he will. No, the heal comes through.
The Q came back. Zac racing to top side to try to save the Nasus while the tower is finally going to go down. The first one, too.
I'm sure if they should be trying to engage on Nasus.
Oh, he tried to flash away! He didn't get it.
Zac is coming in here. He is holding down. Oh, he jumps right in. Perfect time. Misses the Q.
Oh, by the way, bot side, there's a huge fight going down there. Zushi is got the good angle. He's going to get enough burst from the W.
Wow. So much fighting all over.
Yeah, no kidding. The camera doesn't even know which one to focus. There's too much action.
No TP play available. Karma...
Ooh, throws him into the wall, but he did not throw it well enough. Nasus is now taking the tower, but the W will be coming up. Oh! The great timing on the stopwatch! Can he get a burst on Zac? He's not going to get it.
Vladimir going in for the Lucian and bot lane combo. Able to get a big heal, but the speed up from Nami should be able to shuttle out. Oh, the flash coming in, along with the E-stun, not able to do enough.
Not able to do enough indeed. Wait a second, is that a QSS on Vladimir?
Wow.
Wait, what?
QSS Malzahar. It's a suppression so you can get it away.
But to commit an item to that, though...
Well, because Vladimir, the only way you really win is if you kill Lucian. Like, that's what you're worth. In a team fight, you get to the backline with your W and E. Just being able to QSS the Malzahar ult and getting into W form is, I think, good enough to warrant it. I don't know.
Okay, now Tail says, I'm sick of top lane. I'm going to take this tower right now, and he will easily get it.
Yeah. With Zac and Nasus, they might be able to take Rift Herald if they so choose, but Nasus is choosing to back instead. Lucian going in on Tristana, getting good damage. And that's where And there's the QSS. Because he bought it, he did survive, I guess.
Doesn't Cleanse cancel out the suppression? I don't remember. Oh, Rengar jumping in!
Unable to pick anybody up, and Lucian does too much damage, so he chooses to disengage. If Aurelius Xeno waited, I don't think he had to Ghost, actually, or W. But now they're going after the turret. Sej doesn't do a lot of damage. They're TPing in onto the turret, but the turret does go down before the TP completes. They will be chasing after him. Sej chooses to...
That barrier
He's unable to do a lot.
Oh, that barrier came up, too. Oh, man. I thought, just for a second, you thought that they were going to get out of that.
Going after Nami, Zac is able to almost get an auto attack off. The ult from Nami disengages, but I'm unsure how safe she will be. Zac gets bubbled. Let's see. Nope, the team chooses to leave as the rest of AllOneLane gets in there. The jungler did get the tower, so I do think it's worth for the jungler to die here as long as drag is not taken instead. Yeah, it will not be. So I think it was a fine play.
So things are going a lot better for AllOneLane bot side. Top side seems to be a little bit of the same old, same old. And you can't really blame the situation here. They knew they had the Nasus against the Gnar. So the health percentage damage is not high enough because Abe Lincoln's going for the Q max, which is the right call in most situations. So
yeah, maybe you do want the W max in order to counter the amount of health that he has. And Malzahar just being able to take out Cloud Drake by putting some minions down and walking away.
Nasus is focusing on the stack count. We'll go back to him in a brief moment and check out what he's got, but it's pressure in the mid lane that's going on right now. Let's take a look at Nasus and see where he's at on the stat count here. He appears to be at 435 in
Oh,
the
that's
stat
what
count.
it is.
Yeah.
I thought he was at 43, not at 400.
Yeah, you got the only way you can check is if you put your mouse over the
Hold
cursor.
it.
Gotta love that. Bot lane came by to pressure Nasus back. He's at the 435 mark. Drop it in the chat here, folks. If you want to keep the stat number coming, just you can always go ahead and just type the number yourself at 435 and then just plus everything you know from there. But I don't know. I wish there was a feature though to like always know how many stacks Nasus has.
What do you mean? As casters, we do know?
I mean, yeah, we do technically, but we have to check every time. You know what I mean? I wish
Yeah.
there was just like we had like a side camera where it's like we can always know how much Nasus has. Like we have like a ticking timer. You know what I mean?
Until it explodes because Naxxus is able to 1v5?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What stat count of which does Naxxus win at? 435, I believe, is very powerful for the 21-minute mark. And Gnar respects that by backing up the instant that he sees Naxxus coming in.
You don't really have a choice. That much cooldown reduction is too dangerous to make light of. Nasus, I'm pretty sure, does not have a sorcery as his follow-up, but he does have Resolve Tree. If he had the sorcery where it's cooldown reduction bonus, he might be going for a heavy cooldown reduction style of approach to increase his own damage, while keeping those cooldown items that are very valuable and effective. That's it might happen, but I don't know if he's committing to it, considering Spirit's 10% and the Glacial Shroud is another 10%. So I'm not sure. Not sure.
He is at 40 right now. So the added 10% would add, I think, 20 AD, as he's not going for AP. So I don't, depending on what he has right now, I don't know what he would want to go. But since he's already at 40, I think, like, he's already at max.
He's been doing a really good job on the stat count, honestly. Very, very good. Let's see if he will continue this going into the matchup at hand.
Gnar really unable to get him off the stack. Zach looks like he wants to go in onto Nami. Chooses not to, though the team was there to collapse. Karma poking away at Lucian as Lucian pokes back.
Gets the ghost out of Xeno, though. Gets it right away from him. No chance. USSs have been purchased here, and that's going to force a lot more defensiveness out of their opponents. And honestly, that is extremely good that Malzahar has been being picked in this one, because that just basically allows you to have a much better turning point on him. Makes it difficult for him to do anything.
Yeah.
Like,
if they do... You continue.
Okay, I was saying, item-wise, you just sacrificed an item. You forced your person to buy a 1,300 item instead of completing a Leandri's Torment, or instead of completing another item. You are now forced to get a QSS to just to survive that ultimate, and that is something that is forced to have happen. Instead of, you know, going for tenacity or anything.
Going after the Karma, the 2 ults, that's what I was talking about. The double suppression from full health to death. That was wow. That's kind of sad. Feels bad, dude. Oh, what were you saying about the 1,300 price tag?
Well, the Karma didn't buy it, so.
Yeah, she kind of. That's why you buy the 1,300 price tag,
The
right?
Baron call by AllOneLane could be a make or break to their breaking of the tie. They have a 3,000 gold lead at this point on the nose. What's going to happen next? Who knows?
After
Tristana, right there in a very vulnerable spot, will be forced engaged on to force back, and Abe Lincoln pressures back GG Esports too. Oh boy, nope, not going to engage here.
Going back to clear the wards at Baron Pit. I don't know why they tried to do the Death Bush after being spotted by a blue ward, knowing that they weren't on Baron. Though Karma is poking away at the team. No pick off, though Malzahar does have his ult. Sej does not have that.
I'm really confused at what just happened with that interaction. He jumped over with the Q, but didn't go over the wall. He kind of just bounced back. That was kind of weird. Did you see that too?
I kind of did. I think it was a his model would stop right where the wall was because whoever he hit was so close to the wall, so he just rebounded back.
Because that would have
I don't
been
know.
Green Boys who soloing that situation, and it's surprising that that worked out the way it did. Because now there's no fighting that would have happened. That fight would have happened. There would have been a fight,
Yeah.
but now there isn't any, and that's really weird. Gotta be honest.
Well, I don't think that Sej wanted to take that fight. I think that Sej wants her ult up, which it now is, before she tries to go in. Tristana feeling threatened, W's away. That was probably a good choice. Though there isn't a lot of follow-up potential, as a lot of members from AllOneLane did just back to reset.
Nasus is now being sent from taking that massive wave to now heading towards the Baron pit. They noticed Malzahar was there and that the race has begun. Nasus is now racing back, which means
They
it's
kick off
time.
Tristana and
Nasus
disengage.
is debating on whether to go down or up, and finally has to run up there as the Infernal Drake is now completely exposed for AllOneLane. They caught the rotation, but they're not moving in time. Or maybe they're bluffing this jungle to trick them into not even looking at the Infernal Drake pit. Ooh, I see what they're doing now. And that'll be a free Infernal Drake for AllOneLane. Great job. As they've utilized the rotation and took advantage of Sejuani being present. Because they didn't think that Drake was going to get taken if Sej wasn't there. So
I agree.
So Nasus' farm is now ahead of everybody at this point, except for Malzahar. And
I think having the two junglers face off prevents any sort of steal going on Dragon, which is a good choice. That's the AllOneLane rotations that I was trying to see in Game 1. They do spot a majority of the team going around Baron Pit. I don't think that Red Team wants to try and clear that control ward within Baron Pit. I do think that they have the presence to, they just are not choosing to. Maybe they don't realize it. They don't have tier 1 of mid down, which just is a safety spot of which AllOneLane can hold on to, especially for Baron.
So pressure in the mid side here. The problem is they have Kitafire on these splits. So Kitafire cannot beat Nasus in a one-on-one at this stage. And Nasus now has a Righteous Glory, so there is no champion on their team that can easily beat Nasus. They have to actually send multiple members. Because Vayne can't win that fight because the fact that Vayne isn't in this game. And Lucian is basically not the type of champion that's supposed to be fighting against a Nasus. So Vayne would be the best chance, but it's not in this game, obviously.
Yeah. With Lucian, I think it's possible. As AllOneLane starts up Baron, and Nasus continues to push. Sej goes into the pit while the control ward, and Nasus TPs into the bottom of the pit. Karma pokes. Nami chooses to disengage, uses multiple ults to disengage.
Ooh, close.
Vladimir flashes back in, but is unable to do a lot. They take down the control ward before backing out, which is probably a good choice.
Looks like Nasus' stack is now 645, folks, at this time. That's looking pretty good for his chances. He's almost at 1,000, and he's almost 3 minutes in.
Zac pulls back in Sej. Nasus ults and is just taking down Sej. I think they start at Baron and is able to just complete it. AllOneLane has to back in response.
That late game advantage by Nasus is heavily coming into play here. And I do not see the chances of GG Esports winning. I mean, having any having any problems at this point onward, because this is where GG Esports is at their absolute best. It's past 30 minutes now. It's about to be past 30 minutes, and this is where
Zac chooses to engage on the Lucian, but misses. If Nasus didn't use TP, they'd be in such a powerful place because they'd have to send multiple members to take out Nasus, as this tier 1 just gets obliterated. Holy moly.
Yeah, no kidding. So, GG Esports, I'm just going to give you a prediction here. Oh, wow, that was a weird animation. You set yourself up at a 1-4-1 comp, you just sit in mid lane, you pressure it, while Nasus, the only champion that nobody can deal with, can just take towers. You can't send one person, you have to send two, and then you've got Rengar on those engages, Vladimir can get his ghost, come back, and then you can just walk them right through AllOneLane. And AllOneLane's late game damage is just not here yet, doesn't have that extra damage to deal with Nasus, so I don't think there's anything they can really do until like a very specific part of late game where Malzahar's damage is going to be so high that Nasus doesn't have enough magic resist to survive it.
Yeah, though I don't. Oh, Malzahar has to flash in order to get out of that, while Tristana gets ulted and obliterated.
Wow.
Does not use the QSS soon enough. The Vladimir gets ignited, and the heal does not come back through.
GG
That's
Esports! What happened?
AllOneLane. That was a the Gnar coming in from the back, getting both of them. Oh, wow. And they just get obliterated, though Nasus is so strong that it's able to almost take out the Lucian, while Zac goes down soon thereafter.
I can't believe it, folks! AllOneLane out of nowhere has swung it all the way back!
And they didn't even have Sej in that fight, and so she's just able to take a top lane turret.
And Karma wasn't there either for the barriers that would have been very vital to that escape plan. AllOneLane, which looked like they were going to lose a lot of momentum, has suddenly got it all back in an instant. And now it's an inhib towers are being damaged. It's going to be an inhib coming down. AllOneLane out of absolute nowhere has swung it all back.
Yeah, I don't think that either of the either Vladimir or Nasus or Zac and Nasus suspected Gnar from flashing and ulting, which just decimated their ability to try and escape. I don't think that Nasus should have used flash, because even if Lucian did go down, it wouldn't have been helpful. Like, you would probably still be in the same spot. I don't think that Sej should be going for the inhib. It's a little greedy.
Yeah, and this is probably the greed speaking right now. Green Boys who's oh my goodness, that cooldown reduction on E. It's almost like he can just perma-spawn it now. He's not going to be able to get out of this. Kid of Fire's on the way. Here's the suppression and the depression onto Karma. There we go. He gets away with it. And Green Boys who scares off Vladimir. This is 29 minutes on the nose. It was looking like GG Esports was going to win it. And they were going to win it pretty convincingly. And all of a sudden, just one massive mistake and AllOneLane has taken inhibitor towers and taken the bot tower.
I think it was a 4K lead that just flipped into nearly a 5K lead, well, more than a 5K lead for AllOneLane. And they get another Drake, which means that this next Drake is going to be super powerful.
Yeah, more movement speed. It's going to be great.
Elder Dragon?
I am in shock. You got to be kidding me. They literally had them. They had the game in their hands, and it was all but over. But then a little too much greed from GG Esports, and suddenly AllOneLane is now complete in control of the game. Now
I think it was a I don't know. I think if they played it cleanly, I think they did have it. I don't know if it was in the bag, but it was getting into the bag. Though with Haley jumping in there and then Aurelius trying to get in there after, mean that it was just no carries, no damage.
Yeah, and it's just such a unbelievable big risk that was taken. This is not. It wasn't game deciding, however, which is a big problem for AllOneLane because, you know, they still have the ace in the sleeve with Nasus here, and he's still looking pretty great. In fact, let's take a look at his stat count here as we take a look at the last play. He's at 732 right now, and he's getting close to 1,000. And if this game goes another 10 minutes, he's definitely going to have 1,000 stacks.
At 30 minutes, he has
732.
Holy moly. That's a scary Nasus.
Yeah,
I think that they just have to play it clean, especially with TP on Nasus. He just has to get to a side lane. Vladimir should probably switch to TP and split up AllOneLane, because if you split up the Sej and the Mouse, they have a lot less playing potential, and it's a lot easier to play against the three that would probably be Sej, Lucian, and Nami, with Zac, Trist, and Karma.
So AllOneLane is definitely using a much more rotational plan strategy. They are absolutely doing everything in their power to keep that team away from a 1-4-0 strategy. They're like separating on a 1-3-1, but the way they're doing it is they're doing it right in front of their opponent, which is making them think and worry, and that is causing them to miss position, as we just saw.
Tristana being taken low probably has to back, as she doesn't have a lot of lifesteal, or
this is a very interesting rotational plan, because now AllOneLane has been able to force every single member of GG Esports away from a good play. They're going to try to
They're
commit
going
up
after
to...
Nasus as they get onto a 1v3. Gnar is stuck bottom lane. Unsure if they're being able to take him out. Zac dives onto the carries. The Nami ult disengages. She dives in late again.
Oh, that ultimate, it was way off target. But Kid of Fire takes the top inhibitor while Gnar is still pressuring the bot tower. I don't think GG Esports is even aware of what's happening. But
Nasus is all alone in a 1v4. The suppression comes through. Let's see if Nasus goes down. He should be able to go down soon. Is able to...
Oh, overpower. Oh, blew it! That's too much
Vladimir
tick.
Takes out Lucian and then Nami, but the stun comes out. Zac bumps him up, but Sej is able to take him out. Sej going after Karma instead of the Zac while...
He has to keep the pressure coming. Gnar could get another inhibitor. That could be all three of them. Hayes is
Gnar
very
gets
low
distracted,
now.
but then goes back. Unsure if they're able to get a lot more.
Abe is working on that last inhibitor. It's taking him a while because he has no attack speed increase. And he is doing everything he can to get this down as fast as possible. It looks like he finally gets that last inhibitor. And that's all three of the inhibitors now. Abe Lincoln, wait a second. Are you DC'd? Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Okay, well, thank goodness for that circumstance for AllOneLane. They took it, like, they lived just long enough for everybody to take an inhibitor, and now AllOneLane has every inhibitor down. And this is going to be pretty good.
And Baron is up, which means that all you have to do is bait Baron until bot lane gets pushed in. And even with Nasus clearing, you're still preferably able to take a fight with the Sej ult and Mao's ult. Though preferably Sej ult actually does hit Tristana instead of missing.
This game, too, for a moment, at the 29-minute mark, as I mentioned earlier, looked to be another victory, a crucial victory for GG Esports, as they absolutely needs a 2-0 to just get themselves into the top 5. But,
I think earlier in chat, somebody said that they don't need a 2-0 because it's like, it's so far away from playoffs.
Well, of course.
As the pause comes out.
I know, but 2-0 is super valuable because it's right now the middle of the pack happens to have a ton of ties. A lot of ties have been going on over the course of every single match so far. And if you can make AllOneLane lose 2-0 is super crucial to your standing of like getting a much bigger, but much bigger pot. Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like
They might still be able to pull it out as mid inhib respawns. They are not trying to get any wards down onto Baron. I guess they do have a control ward, don't they? They have a single control ward and a ward that they could clear, but they choose not to.
So, top inhibitor, bot inhibitor are here. They have one ward on that. Nasus has a TP. What's the next play? Like, we grab Baron. That's the play.
Yeah. With Nasus going over to deal with the double super minions. Zac might be able to steal.
5,000 now on this Baron. Zac has the chance for steal. Nasus is not going to make the rotation. Get a fire, going to take him. Oh, what is that? Massive burst onto Tristana. Oh my goodness.
Gnar trying to stun away Zac, but is only able to do so. Zac pulls Gnar back in as they try to engage. This should probably be it. Zac gets out, but Vladimir is trying to 1v1 or 1v3. Trying to take that team fight without Nasus TPing is probably a bad idea, as most of your gold is centered in him. I think that they just should have seeded it, because they can win. I think they should be able to win a 5v5, depending as long as Triss doesn't get caught, which she did.
Well, with that being the case, all they have left is Nasus, a tank Zac, and a Karma, who is full AP.
Zac going in on Lucian, but is unable to do a lot.
Nasus, what you got for me?
Nasus tries to 1v5 and is taken kind of low. The stun away from Sej takes out a massive amount of his health, and that's probably the last gasp of the Malzahar ult comes out again and is able to pop his passive. Tries to dive Fountain. I don't know. All right, and that's the end of game 2. I think it is a tie, 1-1, for both AllOneLane and for GG Esports.
Oh my goodness. How have the game flipped? I cannot believe how drastic that turn was. I can't wait. That's gonna get in the top 10. I'm convinced that is getting into a top 10 for sure. That was incredible. decision-making, game planning, and everything. Like, that ultimate decision by Abe Lincoln was absolutely incredible clutch factor that just prevented Zach from having any opportunity from getting the steal and getting a big clutch turnabout for Nasus and company. But the Baron was now well within the hands of that, and honestly, my goodness, what a game, what a conclusion. Take a look at the damage chart here. Malzahar's damage really didn't seem to come around until that mid-gaming point where it finally hit that one item spike he was waiting for, and bam, his damage started to really, really hit. And my goodness, he just completely floored, like, took Tristana out of the match. Floored him. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome.
Nasus was unable to split push for a majority of the game. I think with Baron, they should have sent Nasus even with no TP, just because if Nasus does pull a few members, you will win the 4v3, or if he doesn't, then Nasus is just able to take out an inhib in response to you losing. And as long as you don't lose that bad, which you just have to play carefully, because that's just a razor's thin edge.
And that razor's thin edge was a huge gamble that GG Esports took, and honestly, that is a very big misplay and misread. Because at this point, GG Esports, you don't really need to do a 5-man in mid. You could just keep the Nasus going. You can keep the Nasus pushing all the way to the towers. They still, at the time, they still had nobody to answer them. And they didn't need, and they could have forced AllOneLane to be in a unfavorable spot. Even in a 5v4 and you lose that, Nasus is still unstoppable. He'll take out an inhibitor by the time the fight ends. And that's just a guarantee. Look at that self-mitigated damage by Nasus. 26,574. And after all those stacks, he had to have had 900 at that point. Like, my goodness. He was definitely very fed from what he had.
Yeah, he was stacking the entire game.
With the wards placed here, looks like we got 46 by the Nami. Let's take the vision score, though. 106 by Nami. Not bad. Not bad. Also, the vision score by their opponent seemed to be actually rather low, despite how much they warded, including Vladimir had a 38 in wards. Like, he placed a lot down, but 47 of them on that one. Really makes a puzzle. Brings up a really puzzling point.
Honestly, between his vision score and wards placed? Or what are you talking about?
Oh, wait, what?
Oh, what are you talking about between Nasus's like puzzling stats?
Sorry, I meant Vladimir's puzzling vision score stat. That's what I was trying to say.
I misheard you.
Yeah. Okay. No, I explained it poorly. That's the Army Overlord special. Crowd control score by Malzahar. Very impressive indeed. 56. Very good, very good. All right, that ends our segment. Let's go ahead and start talking about some standout players. And we have a 1-for-1 here, which means both sides have the right to talk about their standout player here. And I'm going to be honest, Ninetales on a Nasus, on a choke. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I did like his Cho'Gath play earlier. I thought it was pretty good. He was able to duel the Scion, and I think he really got a handle on it the later it went. And with Nasus, he was able to split push for a majority of the game. I think that he should have made the call to just go split push again, because there was at that many stacks in a single hit. Nobody's standing up to it, especially since at the end AE had to switch into building MR, and he had just built health up to that point, and magic resist boots, so he was not resisting any damage.
Well, it is honestly, his game 1 was just as impressive with the Cho'Gath performance, and honestly, a Ninetales really has made a solid case for a standout player, considering how dominant he was in Game 1 and in Game 2 at his incredibly effective performance. Sushi, in the same breath, also did an incredible job as well. His statistics really speak for themselves. They are really good, and they've been consistently good every single time and every single week. His only circumstance is that he ends up getting in a caught situation every so often, so it's kind of hard to say that like he isn't trying his best, because he absolutely is. So I'm flipping a coin right here between Sushi and a Ninetales. What do you think?
Yeah, I like both of them. I think he played well as Nami. I think his ults were probably the best that you could get in the circumstances as Tarek.
Mhm.
And in a losing game as support, you kind of just have to fall on your sword and take your stats loss.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. It's a 1-for-1, which means both teams are eligible, as I mentioned earlier. I
From AllOneLane, who would you pick?
I gotta give it to Sushi as a standout player. It's
Okay.
quite clear that he is basically the type of individual that really capitalizes on terrible situations and just makes it super good for ADCs to do their work and do their job. But on the other side here, I gotta give it to Ninetales. He clearly is a dominating force in the top lane, and he was able to take advantage of so many things and really did his part consistently, and it was all but GG Esports. Like GG Esports at this point really had the game in their hands at the 29-minute mark, as I said. So and it came down because of Ninetales doing the work, doing the damage, making the kills happen, positioning people poorly, and just really capitalizing on stuff. So I honestly want to give it to him as the standout player of this series, of these matches.
Yeah. The Tarek in the first game, falling on your sword,
Mm-hmm.
having to ult and then dying after means that you couldn't protect your Nexus. I think there were a few other mistakes throughout the game. So I agree with you. I think we should give it to A9 Tails.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say that although Sushi and I think Abe Lincoln and company have got to be a little bit upset about hearing the fact that despite they won game 2, that they didn't get the interview at this point, but I think they can respect the fact that Ninetales was a clear cut case for his dominating performance in games 1 and 2. So honestly, gonna go ahead and give it to him.
All right.
All right, let's go ahead and bring him in to the caster room to have an interview. I hope he's ready to do this. All right, here we go. Hey, man. I hope you were able to be a part of this interview. I wanted to ask if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I was wondering, I was like, I heard that sound. I was watching the replay. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, go for it.
All right, man. Hey, congratulations. You have won the standout player. And honestly,
Oh, thank
game
you.
1, game 2, you guys looked like you were absolutely a dominating force out there. You specifically looked like nobody was going to be able to beat you with that Nasus.
Yeah, well, I kind of had to make up for game 1, though, because I don't know if you guys saw it, but I had Cho'Gath ulted someone as soon as they got the Taric ultimate activated.
Oof.
So,
Yeah, it was a bit of an oof, but honestly, I can't really critique you too badly. You managed to get top lane 1 twice, and honestly, you were a heavy impacting force. Your stacks, what were you at, 900?
I was at like 780, I think.
Oh, 780. Okay, it looked like you were like getting close. Like last time I checked at 7, you had 732 at the time, and I was like, oh my goodness, this guy looks like he's gonna get 1,000. You give him another 10 minutes, maybe even
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
5.
wasn't able to really free farm as much. Later, you went into the match.
Uh-huh. And with that being said, Ninetales, like, what do you think about that last decision? 29 minute at the 28-minute mark, you guys start to get that Baron. You just got the big play, and AllOneLane. They're having to set up a 1-3-1 just to push the lanes out, so they don't have to worry about you pressuring. Your team says, "Let's go ahead, 5-man at mid. Let's see if we get the catch in play. We see 3 enemies in front of us. Let's get that catch." What happened from that point?
Hang on, let me pull up the replay so I can give you an exact, my exact thoughts.
Well, with that being said, I guess I'll just keep talking since I happen to love hearing myself. Now, it was honestly like you came down to a really big part of that Baron play because it just let you do a ton of damage during that time, and you really took advantage of the fact that you were Nasus against Gnar in other top laning spots. So, like, that was just really awesome as a whole. You just really took
Yeah.
over the game for the most
It was
part.
just, I mean, as far as laning, it was just abusing cooldowns, which is kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think his dash on 22-second cooldown, and so you can't go on him when he's in Mega because it's too easy for him to disengage with that. But
Right.
There is that small window where you
Yeah.
can,
especially since you were able to.
of. Especially once I got Frozen Gauntlet.
Able to dodge a lot of
So
Q
are you
coming
at the
out.
replay of what you're talking about, by the way?
If you give me the exact moment, I can find it.
It was
but
between the 28-minute and the 29-minute mark at that time.
Oh, you're talking about right when we take Baron?
Yeah, right when you
Right
take
after,
the Baron,
yeah.
and then you head right down the lane as a 5-man group to go ahead and take that dive play. 28, 29 minutes is where I recall it.
Okay.
And it was like you guys had it. Like you guys were like right about to win the game.
I know, that's what I thought too. I'll just give you my memory of the experience because my client froze, and I'm sure you don't want to wait any longer. Well, I don't know. Like, I remember Zach getting, I think, Nami's flash. I was like, okay, and like we're fine. And then I just remember our backline just falling apart, and that's when the whole game. I feel like the tide of the game really shifted towards the other team. I was like, man, and we just kept falling apart. Like they got an inhib and inhib tower top, and I was like, are we really going to lose this game? Because we were playing for late game, and I felt like we were already there. Like Tristana had like 250 farm versus Lucian. It was like, there's no way we lose this, right? Like Lucian gets outscaled so hard. Like I feel like in solo queue it would have been an easy win, but I don't know what we did wrong. I mean obviously that turning point, but
yeah, that turning point I would say would be the main reason that did happen. But I was trying to say, like the big thing I was trying to mention is Halsey just makes this massive engage. Like the second he sees that flash on that tower, he makes this big play. He jumps right into the back line, right into Malzahar's hands, gets ulted, then that burst damage comes through, and the towers just do enough damage to take him out. Then all of a sudden, Sejuani charges in, and all of a sudden, everybody just broke. The front line broke apart. You started running away, and then suddenly the Gnar flashes up, tosses both of you into the wall, and that just ends up taking you down for a very big ace. Well, except for Karma not being there at the time. But borderlining point is that was just some intense turnaround. That literally, the second that happened, the game flipped on its head. Like the second you guys lost that, it's incredible to see.
Do you happen to know what the gold swing of that was after they took inhibs?
You were 4K ahead right before that, as you had Baron, and then Halsey died, then Vladimir died soon after, and they were able to roll up your towers, like basically all the way to your Nexus. I think it flipped at 8K, so they were 4K ahead of you at that point.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I mean, I didn't think it would be that big of a gold swing, but like in those preceding fights, I was like, man, it feels like we're so far down now.
Yeah.
So any type of flame you want to say, by the way, as I bring into the final question after this one, any flame, anybody you want to say it's at fault for that, or everybody just did their best and it just happened to be circumstantial?
No, I'm not gonna trash talk my teammates on stream. I told them whatever. I told them what I thought when it happened, and they know like what I was happy and what I was displeased about.
Okay.
So,
you can flame your opponents too. You don't have to flame.
Yeah, I mean, I could, but I feel like Nasus into Gnar is just Gnar's gonna lose that matchup 9 times out of 10 unless he's got like an Elise gonna tower die me level 3. But yeah.
Okay. My final question was, okay, go back to that moment. It's the same call, it's the same situation. You're looking at it right there. You get a flashback. You know this is gonna happen. You just know it's gonna happen. Let's just say you did. Do you just suddenly say, you know what, I'm going top now? Or, you know what, I'm going bot. I'm going somewhere else. Do you think that affects the rest of the call at that point? Do you think that you were talking about a different game at this point? What do you think?
You mean right before we
right as you guys are leaving the base with the Baron, all 5 of you, you just say, you know what, no, I'm going top. What do you think? What do you think?
Maybe, because I don't think we might have not engaged mid, but the thing is, I think did they have Gnar top lane and then
Sedge top, Gnar was bot at the time.
Yeah, maybe. It's just so hard to say because that's like, I mean, I was trying to stack because we're playing for late game, so I was still trying to stack. I wasn't like pushing the waves with E super hard or anything, so it would have taken me probably a minute to get at the tower, and then by then, like you already have enemies pushed up on me. So really, I don't know. I mean, maybe we wouldn't have done like such a foolish play, and maybe we would have won. But I feel like that's
Well, I did talk basically about that crucial moment, that clutch moment. You guys had yourselves a 2-0 in the making in this one being your first one. But 1-1 for the next tie will put you guys in a pretty good spot as you approach now the middle of the pack with that, as AllOneLane has also got themselves another tie to get themselves somewhere closer to the middle of the pack, and DST could probably get a good couple of wins to skyrocket themselves. And RAR could be in the making to get themselves jumping up as well. Thanks to that last one, they're currently in third place. They're looking for a better spot now, and they might have just got one. Ladies and gentlemen, a Ninetales, the top laner of GG Esports. Thank you very much for this interview.
Yeah,
Exits on the
thank you
left.
for having me.
See ya. Well, I think that just about sorts out that situation. Thank you all for watching, and thank you guys very much for being a part of the Friday match to come. It is a 1-for-1 for both sides. Congratulations to both sides at their resilience, their effort, their work ethic, and finally, their tireless combatic nature. Because you can't win unless you absolutely know that every nexus and every inhibitor and every tower is gone. Now,
Thank you for streaming with me, Army. It's been really fun.
oh, of course. Let's go ahead and get to that epilogue here. My name is Army Overlord. I was your camera guy, and I was your play-by-play to then switch to a color caster.
I'm Gawain. I was your caster. I'm not really up on the real dialogue there. Hope it was fun watching.
Absolutely, and I honestly think that might be an incredible match. Like, wow, that was absolutely incredible. I loved every second of it. It was just such a great match. I hope we can get another one tomorrow, and we can get more of those. Next match is at 7 p.m. Saturday. I will be another caster for that situation, but I'll see you throughout the whole time because I'm doing the entire weekend. See you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much for watching.